A very good afternoon, one and all. Today, we are going to have a session on entrepreneurial finance and venture capital. The speaker for the session is Ms. K. Sinduri, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, President IIC of RBVRR Women's College, Innovation Ambassador. I'm happy to inform you all that our college is graded with 3.5 stars by IIC Ministry of Education. Now, I welcome Sinduri ma'am to start the session.
Thank you, Monica. Good afternoon, one and all. Today we are going to have a session on entrepreneurial finance and venture capital. So actually everybody knows about entrepreneur. What is entrepreneurship? I think girls, if you want to interact with me in the middle of the session, you can definitely do that. Don't hesitate to ask me any questions. So first of all, we should know what is entrepreneurship, right? Who's an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is a risk taker, is a business person. So what is entrepreneurship? We will discuss about entrepreneurship first, then go to entrepreneurial finance and venture capital. So as commerce students, you must be knowing about commerce, industry, business, everything, etc. So here, entrepreneurship is the attempt to create value through recognition of business opportunity, the management of risk taking appropriate to the opportunity, and through the communicative and management skills to mobilize human, financial, and material resources necessary to bring a project to fruition. In the sense, how a business is going to be successful, what does the entrepreneur do to do this? This will be explained in this. Okay. So, entrepreneurship refers to the functions performed by an entrepreneur in establishing an enterprise. Okay. So, who have you ever heard the word entrepreneurship, girls? Girls, can you hear me? Who is an entrepreneur and what is entrepreneurship? In the sense, entrepreneur is a risk taker. So entrepreneurship consists of two things. One is risk taking and innovation. So always it is risk taking. Entrepreneurship is risk taking, and it also includes innovation, that is doing something new or something different is a necessary condition to be called a person as an entrepreneur. So the entrepreneurs are constantly on the lookout to do something different and unique to meet the changing requirements of the customers. So I hope you understand the definition, girls. So entrepreneurship is a creation or extraction of value. It is viewed as change, generally entailing risk beyond what is normally encountered in starting a business, which may include other values other than simply economic ones. So an entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. So the process of setting a business is known as entrepreneurship. And then the entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, a source of new ideas, goods, services, and business procedures. Hence, entrepreneurship is defined as the process of designing, launching, and running a new business. It is the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a business venture along with any of its risks to make a profit. So this is briefly about entrepreneurship. And then next we'll go to entrepreneurial finance. What is entrepreneurial finance? This is our most important topic. Before that, I would like to explain about entrepreneurship a little. So always entrepreneur is a risk bearer, risk taker. So starting a new enterprise always involves risk, and trying to for doing something new and different, it is always risky. So the reason is not difficult to seek. What may be the reason? The enterprise may earn profits or incur losses because of various factors. One second, girls. Video. Okay, girls. So this is what we are learning here. And then the enterprise may earn profits or incur losses because of various factors like increasing competition. So changes in customer preferences and shortage of raw materials and so on. These may be the problems of any enterprise. So an entrepreneur therefore needs to be bold enough to assume the risk involved in the enterprise. In fact, he or she needs to be a risk taker, not risk avoider. So basically, entrepreneur is a risk taker. He has to take risk to continue with his business. He should never avoid taking the risk. So his risk bearing ability enables him, even if he falls in one time or one venture, to persist on, and on which ultimately helps him succeed. So this is how the entrepreneur acts. This is how the entrepreneur works. And the entrepreneur, whatever he does, that will help the enterprise in growing. So I conclude here that innovation and risk bearing are regarded as two basic elements involved in the entrepreneurs. This part. So, okay, now comes to entrepreneurial finance. What is entrepreneurial finance? Every business needs funds, right? Every business needs funds. Every business person has to invest in his business, unless and otherwise he cannot continue with his business. So, what is entrepreneurial finance? It is defined as the study of resource allocation and value, which is applied to new companies or startups and ventures. So, venture capital can provide the necessary funding to grow the business. Entrepreneurs are often faced with many challenging questions when it comes to financing. Love, how much money do they require? When should they raise the funds? What will be the payment terms, etc. See here, one more interesting point is, suppose whatever the investment is done by the entrepreneur, he still needs other funds, but from where can he raise his funds? This is the most important question here. From how does he get his funds? What are the sources of funds? And how should he approach them? And how to get the funding for the enterprise? So this is what we are going to discuss. What are the sources of entrepreneurial finance and what will be the payment terms? So this has to be understood ultimately. That is the most important factor here. Now, now comes enter importance of entrepreneur finance. Every company requires different types of finance. So depending on the industry and objective of the organization, a business have different requirements of money. So it is essential to understand whom to approach for finance. Initially, every startup entrepreneur will consider approaching his friends, family, banks, venture capitalists, and angel investors and other relevant sources. So, but most of the entrepreneurs face common problems such as lack of understanding of business potential, hurdles in performance, convincing the clients about the
Ma'am,
potential.
few girls are waiting, ma'am. Many girls are waiting. Can you allow them, ma'am?
Actually, not now. because the session has already started. Okay, please stay back, all of you girls. Others can join later. So here, most of the entrepreneurs face common problems like what kind of problems, common problems such as lack of understanding of business potential and hurdles in performance and convincing the clients about the potential prospects and lack of confidence in the startup. Now, many investors actually will consider factors such as competition, political risk, size of the market, prospects, the strength of the team, and other factors before investing. The amount of finance required for a startup depends on the dream and aspiration for the entrepreneur. So the businessman also has to find the investors to invest in his business. Certain companies need large amounts of finance, which will be provided by various investors. Entrepreneurial finance is an important factor in establishing a new venture. So, how to get the finance for starting a business, which plays a very important role. Usually, the business is conducted on the basis of obtaining the loans. Okay, so whenever they want a loan, whom should they approach? Usually, banks provide loans to the entrepreneurs, and some finance companies will provide loans to the entrepreneurs, and then financial institutions like IFCI, IDBI, ICICI, all these banks, IDBI Bank will provide finance, SBI, and Bank of Baroda, all the banks also like they also provide finance, but apart from that, some private funding agencies also are there. They will also provide funds to the entrepreneurs for the purpose of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship plays a very big role in developing the economy as a whole. So when entrepreneur starts one enterprise, what happens? He will be self-employed, and he is also showing employment to other people also. So that is the reason why this is very, very important, and entrepreneurship leads to economic development of a country. So rapid industrialization and entrepreneurship will develop the economy as a whole. So that's the reason why it has to be done in a proper way, and people have to invest their ideas, their capabilities into starting the business. So this is briefly about entrepreneurship and the finance. So what are the sources of entrepreneurial finance? So there are so many sources, just like just now I told you that there are so many sources of finances which an entrepreneur can avail. So he can approach the commercial banks, they can approach the financial institutions, and then there are so many other private agencies are also there who will provide the funding for the entrepreneurs, who will provide the funding to the entrepreneurs. So here, the institutions are very common, banks are very common, and apart from that, we have business angels who provide the finance, entrepreneurial finance, and then venture capital, then external financing, buyouts, accelerators and incubators, then crowdfunding, investment based crowdfunding. And under that crowdfunding, we have four types, that is investment based crowdfunding and reward based crowdfunding, donations based crowdfunding, and lending based crowdfunding. Okay, so and the next one is corporate venture capital is available, and then family offices will be there, then government venture capital, then IP based investment funds, then IP based debt funding, then mini bonds, social venture capital, capital funds, and university managed funds. So these are some of the sources of entrepreneurial finance. So let us go through one by one. First one is business angels. Business angels, in the sense, they are the private investors actually who provide finance to the new enterprises. Actually, see here, every startup requires different types of finance. Depending on the industry and objective of the organization, a startup may have different requirements of money. What kind of requirements? Even startups from the same industry will have different requirements for money. So it is essential to understand whom to approach for finance. Initially, every startup entrepreneur will consider approaching his friends, family, banks, venture capitalists, angel investors, and other relevant sources. But most of the entrepreneurs are faced with common problems such as a request for large equity, lack of understanding of business, then so many hurdles they face in their performance, and convincing the clients about the potential prospects. See, many problems like this they tend to face. So, like, without facing problems, no entrepreneur can be successful. So many investors will consider factors such as the competition, political risk, and size of the market, prospects, the strength of the team. These are the main important factors which will influence the entrepreneur and entrepreneurship as a whole. So, now coming to the this business angels. What are business angels? He is a private investor. In the sense, a private investor is known as a business angel who invests part of his finance and time in the next one is venture capital. The other source of finance, entrepreneurial finance, is venture capital. Venture capital is a financing method in which financial investors participate in a new company's capital against cash and guidance. So they usually look out for fast growing companies where there are leverage capacity and performing teams. So the primary objective of this venture capital is to make a profit by selling its stake in the company in the middle term. See, the topic is also the topic refers to entrepreneurial finance as well as venture capital. So it is venture capital is one of the financing methods in which financial investors participate in a new company's capital. Okay, so these venture capitalists expect very high profitability as compared to other markets, since they take a very high risk of investing in a relatively new venture. So they are into the business to get more and more profits, and the corporate venture capitalists are also present to focus on strategic benefits only. While business angels invest their own money, venture capitalists invest money in other people. That means what? Venture capitalists enter during the growth stage, while business angels invest at a very early stage. So, at the time of starting the industry, the angel investors will come into the picture, they'll start investing, and when this company starts growing, the venture capitalists also start investing in that company. Then the third source is external financing. So, here external financing, in a sense, business make use of external financing since they require more financing than the owners can provide. See, owners, that means the promoters of the company, the entrepreneurs, cannot invest all the funds whatever they require to establish an industry. So they require more financing. For that they depend on external financing. So they use different financial investors, like again angel investments, external other in private investors, then venture capitals, hedge funds, etc. This is external financing. Then buyouts. Buyouts, in the sense, these are forms of corporate finance that are utilized to transfer ownership by different methods. The company can be private and free of regulations, or it can be public. Everybody knows what is a private company and a public limited company. This also means changing or refocusing the mission mission and vision of the company as the ownership changes. The changes do not stop here but continue with changing the product line. Ma, please switch off your audio, girls.
Girls, switch off your audios.
Okay. So this means that changing or refocusing the mission and vision of the company as the ownership changes. So the changes do not stop here but continue with changing the product line. So streamlining different processes according to the ownership and changing, replacing the existing management. This is buyouts. Okay, so this is a forms of corporate finance which is utilized to transfer the ownership. Now comes accelerators and incubators. See, from here we have new sources of entrepreneurial finance. These have become very popular in recent days. The objective of accelerators and incubators is to assist the ventures with advice, access for network, shared resources, and mentorship to grow. That means they will provide all kinds of assistance and advice to the enterprise to grow further. So these are the accelerators and incubators. They will assist the entrepreneurs in each and every step, like from the beginning of the industry till the growth of the industry to an extent. So most of the time they also offer physical space along with financial resources. So finance is also provided and then space is also provided to establish the industry. So these accelerators and incubators play a very important role in financing and then providing guidance to the new startups and new ventures. Next comes crowdfunding. What is crowdfunding? This is the concept of the product which is presented on a platform with the business plan. That means it is intended for the audience and the public wherein money is raised from them. So here, four types of crowdfunding are there. If we go, if you understand these four types, you will exactly understand what is crowdfunding. First one is investment based crowdfunding. It is also known as equity based crowdfunding, in which entrepreneurs make an open call on the website. So their primary intention is to sell a specific amount of equity. So they will offer the equity to the public. So public will tend to invest in the main scripts. Then this is investment based crowdfunding. Second one is reward based crowdfunding. So this is the type of crowdfunding which is similar to financial bootstrapping because the financiers receive the most typical reward, which is the delivery of the product. So whoever invests, they will receive the products. Sometimes they are also able to get the customized products or services which are only meant for them. So this is reward based crowdfunding. Then donation based crowdfunding. Actually, donations are provided by individuals or NGOs, that is non-government organizations. They use donations based crowdfunding to raise money for a cause, because NGOs work for a reason, work for a cause which will benefit the society. So they raise the funds. They are known as donation based crowdfunding. Next one is lending based crowdfunding. The lenders receive a fixed interest for their loans, which is the primary objective of the crowd. So, this is lending based crowdfunding. So, whenever people lend for the purpose of business, for the purpose of entrepreneurship, they definitely receive fixed interest on their loans, which are given by them. This is lending based crowdfunding. So I hope everybody understood what is crowdfunding. It consists of four elements, that is investment based crowdfunding, reward based crowdfunding, donation based crowdfunding, and lending based crowdfunding. Next comes this. The third point is corporate venture capital. Already I have explained you what is venture capital. These are venture capital investments made by established companies in startups or growth companies. So instead of purchasing the entire startup, that means investing the total amount of the project entirely, they take a major stake in these young firms and help them to develop in the market. This is corporate venture capital. So usually, when they invest in startups, but they do not invest the total amount, but they invest the maximum amount and take a major stake in these young firms. So this is corporate venture capital. And then the next one is family offices. I hope this is clear, girls. These are the venture capital investments and they take a major stake. And usually, corporate venture capital investors invest either in the early venture stage or last stage of the venture, also, it could be done. Then comes family offices. Actually, the families who own very high net worth and large companies establish their own offices. So, the primary objective of these offices is to manage their wealth. So, these family offices also invest in different growth ventures. So, that means they are like family businesses, already established industries they have. Then comes the government venture capital. Apart from private companies entering into venture capital, government companies have also set up their venture capital financing. So even government is involved in venture capital now. They aim to help new businesses solve the financial problems and reduce the gap between the company and finances. That means company needs so and so funds, but they are unable to provide. So this gap will be filled by government's venture capital. Then IP based investment funds. The next one is these investment funds invest in intellectual property rights. That means this is regarding patents, though they primarily look into patents. When they invest in intellectual property, they can monetize it and use those funds to grow their venture. So, therefore, IP based investment funds do not provide debt or equity. That means it doesn't mean that people have to invest in the equity or equity share capital of the enterprise, but this is related to patents. So when they invest in intellectual property, they can monetize it and use those funds to grow their venture. That's all. Then comes the next one is IP backed debt funding. So IP backed debt funding are those companies which exploit the economic value of their intellectual property. So the primary purpose is to obtain loans from banks. So they try to get those from financial institutions where IP rights can be used as collateral. See, in any bank which is supposed to, receive collateral securities before lending funds. That means if an entrepreneur approaches a bank, then he has to show the collateral security to get the loan, to obtain the loan. In the same way here, these IP-backed debt funding companies, what do? They try to approach the financial institutions and where the IP rights, that means the intellectual property rights can be used as a collateral security. These instruments usually involve a very high structuring cost and other crucial components when it comes to funding of startups. And then mini bonds, the next one is these are the public bonds that are issued in the segment of special bonds. They also reflect the desire of the firm to reduce their dependence on banks for financing activities. These are known as mini bonds. The next one is social venture capital funds. These funds provide seed funding to the social enterprises whose motive is only profit. These are the profit oriented organizations. The funding can be both in terms of equity and debt, and their primary objective remains to achieve reasonable financial returns by giving a social impact. So impact will be related to the society, social impact it will have, but they are highly profit oriented and they have to get the profits and they work for that and they provide seed funding to the social enterprises whose motive is ultimately the high profit. Then comes the last one is university managed funds. These are launched very recently to support the ideas of university alumni, faculty, or staff. These funds are essential to get the technology ready and to hand it over to the private sector or a development partner. So, this is also done at the university level, and these are the sources of finance, internal sources, external sources, everything. So this is briefly about entrepreneurial finance. And venture capital, already I've explained you. Just we'll look into venture capital next. So already we discussed what is venture capital. Venture capitalists invest in enterprises at the starting point, at the starting time, or during the growth of the organization also. So what is the role and importance of venture capital? First thing is promotion of enterprise. They try to promote the enterprise. That means, see, entrepreneurs are very smart, very intelligent, hardworking, and they always try to get good ideas. They are the innovators, but they don't have the funds. That is the basic problem. So here, venture capitalists, what the role played by venture capitalists is they support for the promotion of the enterprise. How do they promote the enterprise? By providing funding to the enterprise, because entrepreneur can invest to an extent, but over and above certain limit, he's lack of funds. So those funds will be provided by venture capitalists. So first important point is promotion of the enterprise. Then encouragement to entrepreneurship. They also try to encourage, they conduct the sessions, they provide finance for the purpose of entrepreneurship, which is very, very important. Then they also provide performance of economic activities. In the sense, economic activities like sale and purchase of products, purchase of machinery, and then other raw materials, etc. Which can be converted into finished products. Then carrying out production and its availability to the consumers may be efficiently performed through venture capital companies, venture capitalists, I mean. So this is performance of economic activities. These activities are performed by venture capitalists. Then management and organization. They are also into management and organization. That is, management and organization of the industry should be efficient for the performance of various economic activities. For example, manpower planning, taking work from the competent persons to engage the service of professionals, and maintaining balance therein for getting economic activities accomplished. So for all these, venture capital in the required volume is essential. So here, venture capital is the important tool or method to encourage entrepreneurship. The reason being that one side, the venture capital encourages the investors to establish the industries, and on the other side, small and medium entrepreneurs and all are also encouraged. So this is the speciality of it. Then dominance of desired skills and competence. Actually, if the entrepreneur has to avail the services of any particular person for specific work, then the venture capital has a special role in obtaining his desired skills. Then, fulfillment of financial requirements of high risk entrepreneurs. So, use of automatic machines, computers, and latest machinery, robots, new sources of energy, email rockets, research, etc. So, due to scientific progress, have not only brought the technical revolution but also has increased the risks of the businesses. So, representation of funds incorporated in new enterprise. Venture capital represents the funds in the new enterprises. So, they also provide assistance in strategy formulation. Strategy is what, girls? That is just the plan. Strategy means planning the activities. So, venture capitalists also provide assistance in strategy formulation to grow the organization. Today's age is the age of competitions, which can be seen in all areas, activities, stages, and places. However, venture capital has to sustain in all types of competition which enables the entrepreneur to prepare strategic right from the establishment of the industry to its development expansion. So this is how the major role is played by venture capital in entrepreneurial finance. I hope I am clear, girls. This is what I wanted to discuss in today's session. Mainly the importance of entrepreneurial finance and the importance of venture capital and what are the various sources of entrepreneurial finance. So, one more thing I would like to share with you all is recently we had a session in the college premises that camp entrepreneurs in campus, and you will be happy and to know that there are young entrepreneurs who are doing their graduation in our college. They are into various kinds of businesses, different kinds of businesses. So they have given presentations about their own business. How did they get the ideas and what did they do to earn money? What are their ideas? How are they performing? This was explained by young entrepreneurs in the campus, and please try to find out who are the entrepreneurs and what kind of businesses they are doing, because everybody can think about it like what they can do innovatively. See, innovation in the sense, you don't need to find a new thing, but you can make changes to the existing product also in an innovative way, in a creative way. So this is how the businesses, maybe the girls which they are doing may not be of at a high range, but they have started now. Most of them are into so many businesses, like making crafts, gifts, okay, and then some of them are into gift items, and they also make the cards for the special occasions. And then they are also into apparels, selling of apparels, jewelry, artificial jewelry, 1 gram jewelry. And then one of the students, actually her business, the name of the business is Naughty Threads, and she sells all the artificial jewelries. Actually, these are very new, in fact. And then we have seen so many earlier, but this is entirely different, and innovatively she's making them. And her name is Bhargavi. She belongs to our college only. And then one more girl makes all gift items and greeting cards, etc., like which she is successfully selling. That means all types of handmade gifts, explosion of boxes, greeting cards, hampers, chocolate boutiques, etc. So these are also very innovatively made. And the name of her business is like Crafty Gift Hub. Like this, many of the students are into, and there some of them are doing mehendi business, and they're also very experts in that. And I wonder, these girls belong to our college, and they are in the degree first year and second year. Isn't that amazing? So you can also enter into entrepreneurship. You can also think about your new business, so that you can be self-employed as well as you can show employment to others also. And this is really encouraging, and our college is encouraging the entrepreneurs, and our existing entrepreneurs in the campus are going to make pamphlets about their business, and they want to advertise about their business also. So this is also a wonderful thing, and they would like to explain about their business to the entire college, so that they can increase their business, and they can make more customers. And then one more girl is into mehendi designs, and she makes lots of interesting mehendi designs, and she's selling her designs also, in fact. So in the same way, like you can also enter into entrepreneurship. You can start your own business. You can come up with new ideas and new business ideas, so that the college would help you in implementing your ideas. Like we are going to have a pre-incubation center shortly, and if anybody is doing any business, please come up to us, meet us, discuss with us, so that we will encourage you, and we would like to share our ideas also with you, and we would like to provide all kinds of finance. like whatever is all kinds of support, and sometimes finance also, like whatever is required to start a business on your own. And then, but the idea should be innovative. If it is innovative, definitely we will consider it. All kinds of support you will get from the college, and not the direct finance, maybe not, but support will be extended to you depending on the decision of the management. So this is what I wanted to explain you in today's session, girls. I hope all the girls are following my lecture. And if anybody wants to interact with me, you can ask me if you have any questions about the entrepreneurship, business, anything, girls. C section and D section girls are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, everybody's listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, did you all understand what is entrepreneurship? Girls, would you like to know who are the campus entrepreneurs in our college? We'll share the
Yes,
information with you. Yeah, we'll share the
yes,
information
ma'am.
with you. Yeah. Thank you for your response. We will share the information with you. You can talk to them, and some of them belong to your classes only. In fact, some of them must be your friends, like who are doing business in the campus. And see, every person has a lot of potential. Only with a good encouragement they can bring it into practice. So I request the girls that if you have any good ideas, please approach us, and you can get in touch with Jansi ma'am from Department of Chemistry. She's the NISP coordinator, or you can come to Department of Commerce to me. Then we can discuss, and we will extend the necessary support, and we are always there to support the new business ideas. Okay, girls, I hope everybody is able to follow. Like Vaishnavi is there to propose the vote of thanks. Vaishnavi from BCom Business Analytics,
Yes, ma'am.
can you propose the vote of thanks?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I'm Vaishnavi from BCom Business Analytics, and I'm now here to thank our chief guest on behalf of all of us. I convey a really hearty vote of thanks to our respected guest speaker, Srimati Sinduri Garu, for sparing her time from her schedule to share her thoughts and experiences to cheer us all to do more and more in our lives. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving all of us an opportunity to hear your thoughts. All your words have inspired us all so much. This will surely be going to encourage us all to reach our goals. Also, I thank our department for giving me an opportunity to thank Sundari Madam on behalf of our whole class.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thank you, all girls, for attending the session.